We all have a blind spot. Often, the moment we feel the absolute most confident in our abilities is the exact moment we are performing at our absolute worst. In 1999, researchers at Cornell University officially quantified this quirk of human psychology. This chart plots confidence against actual competence. For beginners, the confidence line shoots straight up, forming a massive, totally unjustified peak. Early ignorance creates a total illusion of expertise, masking the massive gap between how good we think we are and how good we actually are. This early overconfidence stems from a failure of metacognition, the brain's ability to evaluate its own thought processes, rather than simple stubbornness or an inflated ego. This schematic represents a metacognitive engine. Psychologists call this the dual burden of incompetence. The exact knowledge you need to perform a task well is the exact same knowledge you need to recognize you are performing it poorly. Without that baseline, your brain lacks the data to evaluate itself. You are relying on a broken internal engine to run a diagnostic test on its own broken components. It physically cannot generate an accurate result. True incompetence traps us in a state of unrecognized, involuntary blindness to our own flaws. Not everyone in the scientific community immediately accepted this psychological explanation. A wave of skepticism, notably the British critique, suggested the effect might be a mathematical illusion. This scatterplot illustrates regression to the mean, a rule of probability where extreme data naturally pulls toward the average. If you score at the absolute bottom, there's nowhere to go but up. By pure probability, low performers will overestimate, while top performers underestimate. To prove the psychological blind spot was real, the original researchers ran controlled follow-up studies, specifically designed to strip away that statistical noise. Even after adjusting for probability, the behavioral data held up. People with the lowest scores consistently rated their abilities far above reality. The math may amplify the numbers on a chart, but our biological inability to accurately calibrate our own skills is a verified, highly destructive vulnerability. While the biological blind spot is universal, how we express that toxic overconfidence changes drastically depending on where we live. In the United States, a culture rewarding aggressive certainty, the effect manifests as over-precision. People here confidently state incorrect facts with absolute performative authority. Across the Atlantic, in the United Kingdom, that exact same metacognitive failure morphs into defensive cynicism, creating the classic Smart-Aleck, who uses skepticism to mask a lack of deep knowledge. In Australia, tall poppy syndrome, where high achievers are routinely cut down, forces incompetence to hide behind the mocking shield of the smart-arse. The failure of the brain's internal diagnostic tool happens to everyone, but society and geography dictate the specific flavor of our overconfidence. Algorithmic feeds and generative AI function as high-speed distribution networks for overconfidence. These tools provide instant, authoritative-sounding summaries that allow us to mimic expert vocabulary while bypassing the cognitive labor of learning. This shortcut removes the intellectual friction necessary to recognize the boundaries of our own knowledge. By automating the feeling of knowing while removing the tools for self-correction, our digital infrastructure turns a personal psychological flaw into a systemic, global vulnerability. Repairing a broken metacognitive engine requires a deliberate process known as calibration. On the competence curve, as you gain knowledge, the subject's complexity reveals itself. Your confidence takes a steep drop into self-doubt. This valley is where actual learning begins. You start the slow, data-driven climb up the slope of enlightenment until confidence finally matches reality. Organizations can scale this calibration by implementing objective, external metrics that bypass human overestimation entirely. But a rigid metric isn't enough. True resilience requires psychological safety, an environment where admitting you don't know the answer is structurally rewarded instead of punished. The antidote to overconfidence is a deliberate choice. You have to value genuine curiosity over the comfort of absolute certainty. Instead of defending the illusion of your own expertise, actively search for the boundaries of your knowledge. Find the exact edges of what you understand. True mastery doesn't mean possessing all the answers. It means accurately knowing exactly how much you still have left to learn.